go over the Sumo Deadlift. Now, if I were teaching this to a bodybuilding, if I were teaching the Sumo Deadlift to a powerlifting population, there'd be a lot more getting in the weeds of it. As far as a sumo lift is concerned, I consider it specifically in a tactical space as it's a developmental exercise, specifically trying to develop hamstrings and lower back, okay? Now, if we're talking the powerlifting side, we're actually not going to talk powerlifting side. So why would somebody in this space utilize the Sumo Deadlift when I'm preaching? I'm saying use the standard deadlift, work off that, right? If you are working through your deadlift, here's the big if, and you're like, man, I'm really having these sticking points through my conventional lift. Those sticking points or those parts where your movement patterns break down, those are typically show a weakness in either the pattern or the muscles. So we would use the sumo if in that pattern of conventional deadlift, we see as a coach that you're experiencing some lower back weakness or some hamstring weakness. So we go to the sumo because of the position that the sumo puts you in, forces basically an isometric contraction at the beginning end of the deadlift, the hamstrings, because I gotta really widen out my stance. I gotta keep a good vertical shin angle, and in doing so, by opening my hips through external rotation, I've contracted my glute medius, okay? And by doing that also, I put a little bit of tension under my hamstring. So by that external rotation, right, I'm changing the position of the bone, I'm changing the muscular connection to it, right? The hamstrings in this case. And also by opening up my hips, I lower my center of gravity and change my hip angle, my pelvic tilt angle a little bit. It's like basically becomes a little more rigid, okay? So that's what we want to make sure that doesn't happen, is that my shins don't collapse, right? And I don't go into pelvic tilt when I do sumo, okay? Because if I do so, I'm changing the angle of my hips, which is defeating the purpose of strengthening these hamstrings, okay, in this lift. So, real good simple demonstration is like, what's my foot position? If I start narrow like this, and I start widening my feet to where it's like I got this nice little waddle, this lumber, kind of, it's not real far and I'm not super wide, right? There's this natural sort of big lumber, okay? That's the position I'm initially gonna take to the bar. And then I'm gonna open up, basically, if you see the two competition rings, I'm gonna start opening my toes a little bit. So, again, if you look at my shin, of course it's round, but on the inside there's a flat, that's your tibia. The flat side of your tibia, it goes down your bone, that's where the bar rests against as flat as possible. Okay, not on the front side, not on the inside of the ankle, flat on that tibia. Okay, so for me, the way I line up where I'm personally most comfortable is that inside competition ring. I'm gonna basically waddle and walk my feet into that position, okay? And so here's where the problem exists, a lot of people, is to go get the bar, they let those knees come in, okay? Or they anteriorly tilt and they working for tips, okay? So once I have my shin angle, my knees come out, my knees stay out, okay? Torso is neutral, big breath up here, and I go down and get the bar straight, right? That's the thing, is go get the bar straight. Lats down just like a conventional. Glutes get squeezed, okay? Don't try to pull the bar through you, okay? Basically all we're trying to do is bring my knees in. It extends my torso vertical, okay? Go get the bar vertical torso. Bring those knees inward, okay? And then we do that by shortening the hamstrings and finishing with a glute contraction, okay? And that's why, because this movement is so hamstring dominant right here, it really develops the hamstrings. And that is a barbell sumo deadlift.